Part 2,
The third
UFO
observable is a bit of an
Technology
oxymoron, but it's
Explained.
low observability. Now, to put that into perspective, we spend billions of dollars on a single B-2 bomber, just so it's a little bit harder to see on radar. And you can still see it with the naked eye pretty easily. Yet, what we're seeing here are things where the pilots that are trained observers are saying, you know, Lou, I saw it, but I don't know how to describe it because it didn't look like anything we had. It didn't have wings, it didn't have cockpits, rivets, tails, ailerons, elevators, none of that. And yet, there it is. The fourth observable is something we call transmedium travel, which is now only being discussed, but it's been one of the observables for a while. So let's take our analogy. Here's our plane again. A plane looks like a plane because it has to fly. So you have a nose, you have a tail, you have a rudder, you have elevators and ailerons, and you have a jet engine. And yet a rocket ship, which spends most of its time in a vacuum environment, a jet engine's useless, so are wings. So it has a chemical rocket engine and it has thrusters to maneuver in space. And compared to a submarine, which is not a jet or a rocket, because it's underwater, it has a propeller to mechanically displace water, and it uses buoyancy to go up and down. And whenever we try to make a vehicle or something to operate in multiple environments, multiple domains, there's always a design compromise. So let's take a seaplane. A seaplane can fly and it can float, but let's be honest, it's neither a really good plane nor a really good boat. It's a compromise. And yet the things that we're seeing are able to operate in our atmosphere, low Earth atmosphere, high Earth atmosphere, Earth orbit, and seemingly underwater without compromising any of their design characteristics or performance parameters. So that is very significant. And then last but not least, the last observable is what one might call positive lift or anti-gravity. Now, I don't mean anti-gravity in the weird, woo-woo sense. I mean, there's only three fundamental ways that we understand how to defy Earth's gravity. The first one is through flight. So you have four fundamental forces. You have thrust, lift, drag, and weight. And when you know how to manipulate those, you have flight. You have an airplane. You have wings. Another way to defy Earth's gravity is through sheer ballistics. I can blow something with enough energy out of a tube where it will go up. Like think of a mortar, think of throwing a baseball, think of an ICBM, where it will go up and then eventually come back down. And then the last way we know how to defy Earth's gravity is through lighter than air. Think of a hot air balloon, think of helium or hydrogen, where the air density inside is less than the air density outside, so it floats. It rises much like oil and water. And yet these things have no wings. They have no obvious signs of propulsion. They don't even look like anything we have, and yet somehow they're able to defy Earth's gravity. And so when you have all of those observables being displayed by a single technology, one begins to realize very quickly that is certainly a paradigm shift to what we're used to dealing with.